selling all her life. Can you believe that? And she's pretty sure that nearly every one of us in this room has also been selling a lot in our lives. Selling cookies, pizzas, happening books, wrapping paper, ideas, clubs, Madam District Governor, clubs, yes, and ourselves. And we're selling ourselves. We all want to tell others about what is best about something or someone. At the very core of what we do is the urge or need to have people agree or buy into whatever we're selling. Well, this morning, our speaker will take a lifetime of sales and call the skills to be successful into some manageable bites. These are skills to help you be successful from selling snow to an Eskimo or selling your Toastmaster club to a guest. We'll be doing that later this morning. Our speaker, Pat Croal, has been in Toastmasters for 18 years. Yes, hard to believe, huh? 18 years this month. She is our immediate past District 6 governor and currently works as the sales director for Access Genetics. With her seminar entitled From Cookies to Jeans, My Life and Your Life in Sales, please welcome distinguished Toastmaster, Pat Croal.
You ready, right, Keith? Okay. Fellow Toastmasters, long ago, well, maybe not that long ago, I was a 10-year-old Girl Scout. And I was armed with a series of products that everybody, at least I thought, wanted. And you know those products, Girl Scout cookies. Well, in my mind, when I looked at those cookies, I loved them. I loved the Savannahs, which are now called peanut butter sandwiches, the Thin Mints, I'm forgetting now, the little sugar cookies, all of them. I loved them. And I was certain that I was going to go out to everyone in my whole neighborhood, in my whole family, and sell everybody a ton of cookies. There was something in it for me, not just the cookies. I was shooting for the cookie cake. I wanted to be the cookie queen. So I sold my cookies. I went door to door to door to door and sold my cookies to everybody that I ran into. My friends, my neighbors, and those were the days that I could go blocks and blocks as a 10-year-old, and my mom and dad wouldn't worry about me. I went blocks. I sold 400 boxes of cookies. I won the cookie cake. I was the cookie queen. Thank you. You too could be a cookie queen, a Toastmaster queen, any kind of queen or king you choose. Because, this is not Dracula. Because today, we are going to take some of those skills that perhaps I learned young, and I'm sure you learned young, and bring them through your life to apply them to all parts of our life. Now, a couple questions for you in the audience. What do you think of selling something? Selling anything? How many of you love the idea? Sign me up. I'm going to do it right now. Hands in the air. You're the best audience. Exactly what I want. Okay, when thinking about how you feel about sales, somebody coming up to you and asking you to buy something or to get into the idea, what do you think about the person walking up to you or coming up to you to tell you something about? To sell you something. How many of you really like that? Well, I knew that was going to be the answer. Because just like when I was a Girl Scout, I would knock on the door, and I would get Mrs. Jones. And I knew Mrs. Jones would buy cookies from me. I absolutely knew she would buy cookies from me. And this year, she said no. Mrs. Jones did me a favor. She did. She did. She did me a favor, because then when I went to Mrs. Gellerman's house and knocked on the door, I changed the way I talked to Mrs. Gellerman. Well, if Mrs. Jones said no, and no, Pat, I don't like any of these cookies, I changed the way I represented my cookies, and I learned a lesson. So that no was just a no for a short time. But as soon as Mrs. Gellerman saw what I had, well, sure, Pat, I'll buy 5 boxes from you. You seem to like all these cookies, and I'm going to buy them from you. So I learned to adapt my abilities and little morsels along the way in life to become more comfortable at selling. Selling cookies, selling ideas, selling Toastmasters, selling what I do now, a laboratory of molecular diagnostics, something quite technical. And you go, what, Pat? These are genes. It's DNA related. And you know what? The very same skills that I applied to those Girl Scout cookies, I applied to what I'm doing today in my professional life. And I bet well, here's a question for you. How many of you, if you could just learn one skill today to take and help you get an idea across, sell a happenings book. I always look to Keith because he's always selling them. Sell a happenings book. Get along better with a coworker selling your ideas. Ask a member to join your Toastmasters club. If you learn one morsel today, would you like to take that out here and try it? How many of you would like to do that? Okay, that's what I'm going to charge. And I have a couple of objectives today because this is a little seminar and objectives. I'm going to help you. Exactly. I've been charged to do this, and I'm going to help you do it by virtue of what we already know about sales. And here, let's move this back just a tad. Okay. Let's review these. Our objectives today. We will assess our sales comfort level. Now, based on your answers a little bit earlier today, I sense a little bit of sales discomfort. Okay, that's fine. That's normal and completely natural. I even had discomfort walking up to Mrs. Jones' house, especially after that no. I felt dejected and rejected, and I didn't like it, not one little bit. Our next objective today is to learn 1 to 2 skills to sell to others, to sell something, to represent yourself. And the last objective today is to apply these skills to your Toastmasters club, and in my dreams you would apply it to all parts of your life. But let's focus on our Toastmaster club later on today. Now, if I could ask Tim Cameron for your help. This has got a little sticky back. Tim, will you place these on the wall for me when I hand them to you? You can place them just in the front of the room where people can see them and be reminded. One of my tallest guys in the room.
Just on the wall.
Just on the wall, yeah. There's a sticky back on there.
Moving from left to right.
Doesn't matter. It can be random, whatever. Thank you very much. So those are our objectives, to remind ourselves what we're doing today. Thank you very much, Tim. I have a few more that I'll come out but you can sit down now, and it'll be every little bit. Our first skill that we're going to talk about today, and we have 5 skills that we're going to get into. But the first skill that we're going to get into is it comes from a statement. People buy from people they like. And you might ask me, Pat. Or they buy from people they trust. Well, where is the skill in that? Where is the skill? How do you get people to like you? Can anyone tell me how you get people to like you?
Smile.
Smile, yes. Wow.
Give them money.
Okay, that's bribery, yes. Sometimes that's appropriate. Let's keep it legal, though, Jim.
Appeal to what's important to them.
Appeal to what's important to them. Excellent.
Be sincere.
Be sincere. Speak from the heart. Rick.
Be a good listener.
Be a good listener. Excellent. So get people to like you. And it's not that I'm asking you to get out there and ask people to like you. Go with what's inside. We've heard the statements here today. People buy ideas, they buy cookies, they buy products, they buy happenings books, they buy pizzas, they buy from people they like. Will people always say yes? No. People say no more often than they say yes. But the first thing we know is you won't even get past an introductory statement if you don't have likability or trust in your manner. So that's our first skill. So I know everybody in this room. I like everybody in this room. I buy something from everybody in this room. So knowing that when you have an interaction with somebody is really important. knowing that you like people to like you. And the flip side of it, the question, if you don't like people, yeah, you don't really care for being around people, will people like you? Okay. So that there, again, is the other flip side of this. Again, you have to make a decision that you like people or you're comfortable with being around people. Does that mean you have to get over your nervousness and all of that? No, you don't need to worry about that. But if you have a sincere likability for other people and you actually exude your sincerity to them, they will begin liking you. Okay, Tim, if you could hang this on the wall as a reminder of a skill that I'd like everybody to think about when they're selling anything. That would be great. Thank you very much. Our next skill. When I meet somebody for the first time, Keith or Jane, perhaps Clarissa or Joan, I want to ask them some questions. Now, I added in the word ask probing questions. Ask questions about them. Now, what do people like to talk about most? Themselves. They do. They really like to talk about what they're about. Some people may be a little bit more shy, especially walking into a Toastmaster club for the very first time, right? Or a new experience. They might be a little bit sit back a bit. But by asking them open-ended questions, asking them how they found your club, what are they looking to learn from Toastmasters? What are they hoping to get from Toastmasters? Apply that to anything they're doing. So asking probing questions. And in small print, really this should be in large print. Down here at the bottom it says, resist telling. So I'm asking you to resist telling people so much. Resist telling them about yourself. Resist telling them about your product. Rather, show them. Ask them. Let it be about them, and you'll connect even more. So ask probing questions. Can anybody give me a suggestion of a probing question you might ask a guest that comes into your Toastmaster club?
How did you hear about it?
How did you hear about us? Another question. Jim.
If you got a magic pill today in Toastmasters, what would be the result of that pill would give you?
That's an excellent question. I love that. Even more. Tim.
What do you admire about the person who invited you?
Excellent question. Excellent. So that's giving people a chance to really think through, and it's not too tough. One more question. Question you might ask a guest walking into your door.
What do you know about Toastmasters?
What do you know about Toastmasters? And that may be an invitation to tell if they're going to ask. Again, ask probing questions and then resist telling too much until you have that invitation to do so. Okay, Tim, I'll have you take this one and hang it up where you will. You're doing such a fine job there. And on to our next, what does this say? I always say it together. Listen. Listen, our next skill. And is listening a skill?
Yes.
Is it something that we naturally do? No. Especially for us extroverts who tend to talk. And it's a reminder. I put a reminder up on this. These are 2 ears. We have to listen twice as much as we speak because we are given 2 ears and 1 mouth. So to listen. So when you've asked those probing questions, then it's time to sit back and listen. What do they have to say? What are they saying? Are they just answering your questions? Are they giving you more information? Are you making a note of the information that they're giving? So think about what they're giving, because on my next skill, I'm going to go even deeper into this. So what are they really thinking? What are their motivations for coming either to your Toastmaster club or for any interaction in sales? So listen for those key words. And I'm going to ask Tim to stand up again because the next skill here reveals what we're listening for, or at least some of the things we're listening for. Thank you, Tim. You can hang it on the front board, too. It's no problem. The next skill is to connect with another human being on an emotional level. So you've asked the question, how did you hear about Toastmasters? What is a morsel? What was your question again, Jim?
If Toastmasters was the pill, what would the result be?
What would the result be? So you're listening for key emotions. Why that person walked in the door? What are they hoping to gain? And perhaps they may get it here at this Toastmasters Club. Now I have some bullet points here, and I'm going to fill in what are some emotions that people might walk in a Toastmasters club with?
Fear.
Fear. What's another emotion? It can be a couple of words because I know sometimes people walk in a couple of. What about people walking in the door?
Apprehension.
With what was that?
Apprehension.
Apprehension. What's another emotion? They're looking for now this isn't a direct word emotion, but are they looking for an atmosphere of support, perhaps? So they're looking for support? Mm-hmm. Anything else they're looking for?
Oh, looking for confidence.
They're looking for confidence. Another emotion. Ed?
Recognition.
Recognition. What kind of recognition are they looking for, Ed? That's what
A
Jen's
good evaluation in a speech.
Okay. And they may or may not know about our evaluations when they're a brand new member, but they're looking for recognition perhaps of their current skill level. Could they get their needs met here? So they have some needs that we're looking for. So that our last questions are asking probing questions. Are we listening for the needs that they have in walking in the door? So these are just some of the ways we can connect on an emotional level. We get this information and we're registering it because we're listening to our prospect. Let's call our prospect. So we're listening to them. So you're going to register all of this as you're talking to them. Our last two skills we're going to just touch on briefly, but I wanted to call them to your attention because they're very important, especially when you get that person that says no or they're not sure. But the skills of persuasion and influence. The skill of persuasion asks you to consider why this person might want to buy or become a member of the club. It also requires that there's some of you as a member or somebody asking that you have cred or credentials to be either selling or representing the product. And the goal here is to end the conversation on common grounds. So their needs are met and your needs are met. The skill of influence instills eagerness for that person to want to buy, to want to join. So you may take some of the things that they said earlier, some of their needs, some of their desires, some of their emotions that they are looking to fulfill in this club, and turn that around and help influence them to join your club or buy your product. Okay? Now, put that up on the board. If I could ask our timer, how much time where are we at?
You're a minute 31 into the second.
Okay, thank you very much. Now what I would like to do is have each of you pair off in groups of two. So two here, and we're just going to do a short little exercise. So make sure you pair it off in two. Let's see. We're going to do all. You guys go there, two. You guys there. And this can be a group of three if it looks like. Oh, Clarissa, actually, you and Caroline.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is like the seminar, huh?
Here's your role. And you're just going to get a couple of minutes to do this. One of you, actually, I know all of you, a lot of you in the room don't have a really big comfort level asking people to join a club. So one of you, the one with the least Toastmaster experience, I want you to picture yourself the very first time you heard of Toastmasters. It could be today. Or the day you walked into that Toastmaster meeting. So I'm going to give you just a couple of seconds to put yourself there. So decide amongst you who is the least amount of Toastmaster experience. And then that person is going to put themselves into that beginner's role. You don't know anything about Toastmasters. Remember what it felt like way back, or today, for some of our guests. So remember what it felt like. You're curious, you're concerned. And the other person then, the goal there is to help get them to join your club. And the club can be the club today, it could be any club. To join their Toastmaster club. Your goal is to use one or more of the skills that we've talked about. Okay? So Ready, set. I'm going to give you about 2 to 3 minutes. So I'm going to, as I see things going here, 2 to 3 minutes. So you can go. Thank you. Well, I can tell this is a group of Toastmasters because I heard a lot of good chatter in here today. So I'm assuming that some of the skills today really worked well for you. So let's hope that is the case. So I'm going to call on a couple of you to let me know how that went and perhaps what skill was used in order to sell your prospective member to the club. Let's see here. Let's call on, I'll call on you later. Okay. Jim and your guest, Lori, right? Jim, what happened in your little trio? Perhaps which person was the newer Toastmaster?
Jim was.
Jim was the newer Toastmaster. So tell me about what skills that Lori used to sell you.
Really asking me some questions about really finding out where I was, how I got here, and then what some of my goals were.
So the probing questions, okay. Lori, did you find out anything from Jim?
Yes, that he had some previous experience, that he did have goals, that he was new to it, but had received information on Toastmasters from a friend that he admired.
Okay. Did you get an emotion anywhere or something in there that you could really hang your hat on? Get him to...
That he was actively seeking to learn more skills.
So yeah, he had some desire in there, right? Okay. Excellent. Excellent. So important one. Sometimes that can be that's hard to find, especially in just 2 or 3 minutes. So thank you. I'd like to call on our ladies over here. They had interesting. Could you tell me what happened in your little vignette?
Harriet asked me what my name was, and I told her.
And I launched right into a big dissertation. I did everything wrong.
You were telling, right? You were telling.
Yeah, I was telling. I wanted to get a common ground with Barb, who was obviously petrified. So I told her how scared I was when I first came to my first meeting, and how the club has done so much for me in raising my self-esteem, everything. I was spouting off unending. I turned to Barb and I said, "And why did you come today to this Toastmaster meeting?" And she said,
I was looking for the restroom.
So, well, that's advanced sales. And that is actually turning an objection into a yes. Come to the spring convention and we'll get there. A couple of things, Harriet.
Yes,
Harriet. Now, Harriet, you agreed you were telling, right?
I was telling.
Okay, so what could Harriet have done differently, perhaps, rather than telling?
Resist telling.
Resist talk, right? And maybe what else?
Ask the probing questions.
Ask the probing questions, right? Just ask. You probably still get the same answer. Okay, let's see one more group. Ed and your guest back here. Okay, Rick and your guest. Let's do it that way.
Good. You can lead.
Tell me what. So you're the newer Toastmaster, right? So tell me.
Toastmaster.
Future Toastmaster. Tell me what Rick did to help sell you.
He started by asking me the probing question.
Probing questions, okay.
And I told him where I am and how I got here.
Okay.
And we went from there.
Good. Excellent. Thank you. And Rick, what emotions did you get from your interaction?
I sense that we have a future Toastmaster who is interested in gaining confidence.
Okay.
We're talking a lot about he's in grad school and working on business. Communication obviously is critical in a business situation. So here's a perfect opportunity to, and I did go into a little bit of telling here, to work on not only general skills but also specific presentation skills, which we do at some point.
Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you all for your contributions. Well, let's wrap up here. Now, I could go on and on. I could tell and tell and tell more. But really what I'd like to hear from you today, did any of you get an idea of something that you could do differently or challenge yourself in selling either membership in your club or anything by any of the things we talked about today? First of all, by, where's my first one? People, developing a relationship with people, buying from people they like or trust, asking probing questions, listening, and connecting on an emotional level, or even by persuading or influencing. How many of you got something today that you may be able to use in your club? Oh my gosh, keep bringing this out here. Caroline, get up here. You are now our new, and you can all join in here. You're all the cookie queen.
Can guys be the cookie queen also?
Okay. As long as you have a
Works for
cake.
you, that's
Works for me.
As long as you have a cake.
Well, I'll wear the cape during the next few minutes. Thank you so much, Pat.